Welcome everybody, and here we go again with another video by Koopafantasy, aka me. If you guys want, you can check out my blog at koopafantasy.wordpress.com or follow me on Twitter at blackie_Mike if you ever want to get in contact with me, ask me questions, or just debate some of the stuff that I've talked about in my videos and or blog posts. Alright, so right now this video I'm going to go over my top 25 wide receivers as I currently have them ranked going into the 2012 fantasy football season. Seeing as how it is only about midway through June, these rankings are subject to change, so feel free to comment on them and maybe I will use your insight to change my rankings. Maybe you can help change my mind and see something that I didn't see before. Alright guys, let's get right into it because I don't want to be here all day, and neither do you. Number 1 wide receiver, Calvin Johnson. I'm not going to explain it. He's the number 1 wide receiver. Everyone knows that. My number 2 is Andre Johnson. Some people don't have as much faith in him this year because of injury problems and stuff, but I don't think that one random knee injury really constitutes having a whole lot of fear in a guy who before Calvin Johnson was a head and shoulders talent above every other wide receiver in this league. Calvin Johnson is number 1. To me, Andre Johnson is number 2. He's not too far removed from those back-to-back 1,500-yard seasons. I love Andre Johnson. Maybe I'm a bit biased because of it. My number 3 wide receiver, Larry Fitzgerald. This guy has proved last couple of seasons now that despite who throws him the ball, he will catch it. He will catch TDs, and he will go for 1,000+ yards, more likely 2,000 or 1,200 yards. I would draft Larry Fitzgerald with extreme confidence this year, and many people have him as the number 2 above Andre Johnson. My number 4 wide receiver is Wes Welker. This may actually be one of the ones that is more subject to change than the others because of all Gronkowski and Hernandez and Brandon Lloyd being signed. Welker may actually have a bit of a drop-off this year, but as of right now, he's just Mr. Dependable for the Patriots, so he's my number 4 wide receiver. Number 5 is Steve Smith, playing alongside Cam Newton. He had a huge resurgence last year, like a massive resurgence, and I think he's going to keep that going. When this guy has a team that can be exciting, he is so exciting. I love watching Steve Smith play, especially now that he has Cam Newton slinging him the ball. I expect nothing but great things from Cam Newton and Steve Smith this year. My number 6 wide receiver is Roddy White, a guy that many people are kind of hesitant on drafting this year because of the emergence of Julio Jones. But Roddy White is, year in, year out, one of, if not the most targeted wide receiver in the league. I don't see Julio Jones leeching all that many targets this year. I still see Roddy getting like 150 at least targets. He's had 180+ the last 2 years. I'm not seeing him go below 150. He's going to get production for you, so draft Roddy with confidence. I have him number 6 overall for wide receivers. Number 7 overall, Greg Jennings. I love this guy. I had him 2 years ago in a league, a couple of leagues. Tried to get him in every single league I had this year. Only got him in a couple. But he did not disappoint. I love Greg Jennings. I love the Green Bay Packers offense, and I would jump on the chance to grab Greg Jennings in a lot of drafts this year. After him, I have Mike Wallace. Big Ben and the Steelers are really transitioning to a pass offense the last couple of seasons, and Mike Wallace is the main recipient of all those targets. He's extremely fast, huge big play potential. I got a lot of love for Mike Wallace this year, so draft him with confidence as well. Number 9, Hakeem Nicks. He has a broken bone in his foot right now apparently, but I still think he'll be good to go for the beginning of the season. He's got like 2 full months to go, and to me he is the more experienced and still more talented wide receiver out of him and Victor Cruz. So please do not draft Victor Cruz before Hakeem Nicks. I do not think it will be the greatest decision you ever made. My number 10 to round out the top 10 is Kenny Britt. Most people have him between 15, more so 15 to 20 range. I think Kenny Britt's going to be a huge steal this year if he drops that low. I've got him just at the top 10 position. He was a monster last year before going out with an injury. He was a monster the year before that. I got a lot of love for Kenny Britt. Number 11, Brandon Marshall. God, I've got this guy's Miami Dolphin jersey sitting in my closet. Unfortunately, he's no longer a Dolphin. I hate life right now. But he is back with Jay Cutler, and I'm expecting a big season from Brandon Marshall. I wouldn't be surprised if he catches as many TDs this year as he did this 2 years in Miami. It's only 9. So I would easily see him catching 9 this year alone with Cutler slinging him the ball. Number 12 is Colston. 13 and 14 are Jordy Nelson and Victor Cruz. I could see you drafting both these guys ahead of Colston, but Colston is the number 2 technically behind Jimmy Graham. But I still think since he's the number 1 wide receiver, extremely experienced, extremely savvy, that he's going to be a lock for another 1,000 yards and probably a high TD total again this year. So like I said, number 13 and 14 is Jordy Nelson and Victor Cruz. Nelson is not going to catch as many TDs as he did last year, but he will see more targets, and he will probably get more yardage, and he will be a valuable fantasy player and a great number 2 option at wide receiver. Another great number 2 option wide receiver will be Victor Cruz. Like I said before, do not draft him above Hakeem Nicks, please. Hakeem Nicks is the better talent here. Victor Cruz is going to have a tough time repeating those long TDs he had last year. That 99-yard TD, he's not going to get that this year. That's one play that's going to lose 100 yards for him. All right, and then moving on, we have A.J. Green of Cincinnati. I think he was just going to be even better this year with him and Andy Dalton with more experience and going into their second year. So at number 15 wide receiver, I think A.J. Green has a lot of value and could even be bumped ahead of Nelson, Cruz, and even Colston. Number 16, Percy Harvin, another guy I think could actually end up getting bumped up on this list. There's so much talented wide receivers out there right now. Percy Harvin is a stud talent. He runs the ball. He catches the ball. He's got the heart of a champion. The migraines have been an issue, but I think he's gotten past that for the most part, and he's just a stud player. Percy Harvin is one of my favorite players in the league to watch play, and I would happily have him on any fantasy team this year. Number 17, Miles Austin, and kind of a tie with Dez Bryant. A lot of people think Dez Bryant will be the number 1 option this year. I'm not sold on it, but I could see it happening. So I kind of have Dez Bryant and Miles Austin tied right now because I think they're both locks to get about 1,000 yards catching the ball from Tony Romo, one of the league's more consistent throwers. Number 18/19 is Antonio Brown, who was great last year, especially in terms of yardage, playing number 2 to Mike Wallace. All he needs to do is catch some TDs, and Antonio Brown is going to be a steal in this year's drafts. Number 20 is Jeremy Maclin. He had some weird illness last year that threw him off, and he missed. I think he missed 3 total games due to injury. I'm hoping Maclin plays a full schedule this year and goes for about 1,100 yards, maybe 8 to 10 TDs. I like him more than Deshaun Jackson. I've said that multiple times. If you guys have ever listened to my past videos from last year, you know that I'm not a big fan of Deshaun Jackson, and I would much rather have Jeremy Maclin on my team. Squeezed right in between those two in the rankings at 21 is Dwayne Bowe, who had a big drop-off last year, largely because Matt Castle wasn't around, and he had Tyler Palko throwing him the ball. So hopefully Matt Castle is back this year and slings the ball to Dwayne Bowe, who is an extremely amazing wide receiver. He just plays for a kind of a sketchy team, doesn't really get the most opportunities a lot of the time. But should Matt Castle be back, I think Dwayne Bowe can get back to the 10-plus TD range. The guy's a TD machine. Number 23 is Stevie J for the Bills. There's some health concerns for him, but he's their straight-up number 1. No one even knows who their number 2 is, so he's the go-to guy for Fitzpatrick. Yeah, I got confidence that Stevie J will go for another 1,000 yards this year, probably 8 to 10 TDs. Julio Jones will probably end up getting bumped up higher than this. Right now he's number 24 for me. Some people have him like top 10, top 15. I don't yet. He'll probably creep into the top 20 for me eventually. But right now, Roddy White is the number 1 guy there, the guy who's going to get all the targets. Julio Jones is going to need to be a big play guy if he wants to have the value people are giving him right now. So for me, he sits at number 24. Probably going to move up soon eventually. Number 25, rounding out my rankings, is Reggie Wayne. I think he'll be a bit of a sleeper. He'll be a great number 3 wide receiver for you if you can get him there. Number 2, maybe not so much. Andrew Luck is a rookie, obviously going to have his struggles, but he will be looking to Reggie Wayne quite a bit. I don't see why he wouldn't. The guy's a savvy veteran, tons of experience, having played with Peyton Manning. So I think Reggie Wayne and Andrew Luck are going to be looking to each other quite a bit. And then my honorable mention on this draft is actually going to probably end up being thrown in the top 15 somewhere, is Demaryius Thomas. I haven't found a spot for this guy yet. I've got a lot of expectation for Demaryius Thomas. I had him last year. I was able to pick him up late before everybody else did, and he was stellar for me. So yeah, Demaryius Thomas, and as well as Eric Decker, but not so much for me unless you're a PPR guy. I think they are going to be some very valuable wide receivers, and there's a lot of talk about them, so they won't really be sleepers because there's just way too much hype around that Denver team right now. Alright guys, I'm coming up on 10 minutes, so I'm going to end this video now. Those are my top 25 wide receivers as of right now going into the 2012 fantasy football season. Thanks for watching my video, guys. Feel free to comment down below. Visit my blog at koopafantasy.wordpress.com. I love getting debates. I love comments. I'm very prompt getting back to your comments. I answer every comment that's left on my blog. So please come by and visit and get talking with me, and let's talk some fantasy football. Also on Twitter, @Blackie_Mike. Blackie is like the color black, IE at the end. or just type Koopa Fantasy and you might find me that way on Twitter. Anyway, guys, that is the 10-minute mark, and I am done. See you later, and good luck this year.